All right, let's just jump right in. If you've ever wanted to get better with your money, I've got some good news. You don't need a fancy finance degree. You don't need to work on Wall Street. We're going to break down 9 super simple, tiny habits that can completely change your financial picture. And the best part? Most of these take less than 5 minutes a week.
You know, the biggest myth out there is that finance is some kind of exclusive club for experts. It's just not true. Honestly, getting a handle on your money is something anybody can do. It doesn't matter what your background is or what you do for a living.
See, the real key isn't about making one massive, life-changing decision. Not at all. It's about building these small, consistent habits, the kind you can actually stick with. These little things, they are the real building blocks to financial freedom.
So where do we even begin? Well, we start with section 1, and our very first habit, really understanding the connection between your time and your money.
Okay, habit number 1 is a total game changer. You have to figure out your true hourly rate. And trust me, it's probably a lot lower than you think. Here's how you do it. First, find your annual take-home pay. That's what's left after taxes. Then, you're going to add up all your work-related hours. And I mean all of them. Not just the 40 you're paid for, but your commute, the extra time you spend getting ready, any overtime. Now, you just divide your pay by those total hours.
Let's look at a real-world example. Say you have a $60,000 salary. That feels like about $30 an hour, right? Well, after you factor in taxes and maybe an hour-long round-trip commute every day, that real rate plummets to just $20.88. All of a sudden, a $200 dinner out isn't just $200 anymore. It's almost 10 hours of your actual life. This one little calculation reframes every single spending decision you make.
All right, habit number 2 is all about learning this really critical difference. An asset, it puts money in your pocket. Think about something like a rental property that brings in income every month, or maybe a stock that pays the dividends. Now, a liability, that takes money out of your pocket. Your car is the perfect example, right? With payments, insurance, gas, and the fact that it's always losing value, it's just constantly costing you money.
So, here's the habit to build. Before you make any big purchase, just pause for a second and ask yourself this one simple question. This little check-in completely shifts your mindset from just, spending money to consciously deciding if you're actually building your wealth or just draining it.
Now that we've got a better handle on our worth, let's move into section 2, creating systems that make managing your money feel almost, effortless.
Habit number 3 is a classic for a reason. Pay yourself first. Studies show that people who automate their savings are way more likely to hit their financial goals. And why is that? It's because it removes the temptation. Before you even have a chance to spend that money, a piece of your paycheck is already off working for your future. So go ahead, set up an automatic transfer for 10 or 20% of your income. It takes maybe 10 minutes to do it once, and then it works for you all year long.
And that brings us to habit number 4, the monthly check-in using the 50-30-20 rule. This is such a simple framework. About 50% of your take-home pay should go to your needs, things like housing and groceries. 30% can be for your wants, all the fun stuff. And then a solid 20% should be going directly towards your financial goals, like saving and investing.
But what if your numbers are a little off? Let's look at this example. The needs category is a bit high at 58%, and savings are too low. Now, you probably can't change your rent tomorrow, but you can look at other things. Bills for your cell phone, your internet, your insurance, these are often negotiable. Just one quick phone call could be all it takes to shift that balance back where you want it.
This brings us to habit number 5, which is tracking your net worth. Think of this as your ultimate financial scorecard. And here's why it's so important. Your income is what you make, but your net worth, that's what you keep. It's the truest measure of your financial health. A good tip is to track it quarterly, not monthly. That gives you a healthier, long-term view of your progress and helps smooth out any of those day-to-day market bumps. All right, so we've got our systems in place. Now let's talk about how to make your money actually grow. This whole section is about investing for your future. And hey, the first step to investing more is often finding more money to invest. That leads us right into habit number 6, negotiating your bills. Once a quarter, just pick one bill and make the call. The script is super simple. Be polite, mention you're a loyal customer, explain that the bill is getting a little outside your budget, and then just ask what options they have. Seriously, it's way cheaper for a company to give you a discount than to go out and find a whole new customer. Habit number 7 might just be the most important one of all. Investing in yourself. Your skills, your knowledge, your ability to earn more money, that is your greatest asset, bar none.
Just increasing your earning power by 10% over your lifetime could mean an extra $200,000 or $300,000. That's the kind of money that makes the difference between retiring comfortably and just scraping by.
And that leads perfectly into habit number 8. Start investing as early as you possibly can. Just look at this chart. It shows the unbelievable power of compound interest. The early investor puts in $100,000 over 10 years and then just stops. The late investor waits, but then invests for the next 30 years, putting in 3 times as much money. And the result? The early investor still ends up with more money. It's just incredible.
So if you're sitting there feeling a little discouraged that you didn't start sooner, please don't be. The most important thing is that you start now. Even if it's just $50 a month into a simple index fund, getting that ball rolling today is infinitely better than waiting another day, another week, or another year.
We're almost at the end. Our final section is all about your mindset. Because let's be real, building wealth isn't a sprint, it's a marathon, and you gotta stay motivated for the whole journey.
I mean, think about it for a second. If you were playing a video game and it was just a constant grind with no rewards, no feedback, it would be so boring. You'd probably quit. Well, your financial journey is exactly the same. If you don't stop to celebrate your wins, you're going to risk burning out.
And that is our 9th and final habit. Create your own financial achievements. When you hit a big milestone, like saving your first $1,000 or finally paying off a credit card, you have to reward yourself. Acknowledge all that hard work. This actually wires your brain to associate saving and investing with positive feelings, which makes it a much more enjoyable and sustainable habit for the long run.
Ultimately, this is really what it all boils down to. Becoming financially literate is a marathon. It's all about consistent effort over a long, long time. You don't have to be perfect on day one. You just need to keep showing up, keep building these tiny habits, and remember to celebrate your progress along the way. So I'll leave you with this one question. Forget about trying to do all 9 things at once. That's overwhelming. Just pick one. Which tiny habit are you going to commit to starting this week? Is it calculating your true hourly rate? Automating your savings? Making that one phone call? Just start small, start now, and build from there.